Hi, I'm Videobob. This is a 2019 Lamborghini Urus, and today we're going to do an oil change. We're going to change the engine air filter and the cabin air filter as well. It is a little bit of a hassle and a bit of a more charge when they do the Lamborghini Urus. And by the way, the correct pronunciation of the car is Urus. But as lazy Americans, we'd say it Urus. So all this plastic has to come off, which isn't that big a deal. There is a cross brace that has to come off, also not a big deal. The oil filter sits on top. This car uses a 040. Now, I had ordered the Liquid Moly 040 and it got lost in transit. I got tired of waiting, so I went down to O'Reilly's and picked up some of this. I'll be using a genuine Volkswagen OEM filter for this, no cheap stuff, so I'm using the best oil, and this would be a factory filter that you would get if you took your car to Audi, Volkswagen, Lamborghini. Of course, it's a part-sharing car made by Volkswagen Group, which is the parent company. They own the brands Lamborghini, they own Audi, they own Bentley, they own Porsche, and there's a mix mash of some of those parts in here. You have some German engineering in here, which really helps the car. You have a Bentley rear end, you have a ZF transmission, you have parts from Audi, Volkswagen, and then the specifics that are made by Lamborghini would be the body itself, the interior, a lot of the styling and all of those things. But there's a lot of shared components, and really, whereas a lot of people would say that's a bad thing, I think it's a great thing, because if you own one of the older hand-built traditional Lamborghini products, when they were passed through company to company to company, parts are hard to get, the cars were unreliable, but this is a daily driver. This particular car has 66,000 miles on it. It's a daily beater, and you can drive this car as your everyday car, but it requires regular maintenance. Now, on the secondary market, this car being a 2019 with high mileage, the people who buy these cars new for $300,000+, they take them to the dealerships. They don't mind paying $1,500 to get them serviced. But people like me that want to buy a depreciated car and still enjoy a fun luxury SUV but save a little money, well, we're going to change the oil ourselves. Now, there's people out there watching that say, I love watching your videos, Bob, but you talk about work on a Rolls Royce and Lamborghini, and I'll never own one of those cars. Well, I'm here to tell you that as a kid, it was my dream to own a Lamborghini, and now I do. And I think that if you put your mind to it, if you set a goal for yourself, and it's something you want, as you work the market and let things depreciate, you too can live your dream of having one of these fantasy vehicles. And I managed to get one for me, but the only way I can afford to own it is if I take care of it myself. So in my previous videos, we've already fixed some things on the car, but today, general maintenance, let's do an oil change. We're gonna start by going under the vehicle, draining the oil. All right, before we get started, something that people complain about all the time is that I don't use fender covers. I don't have any. Most of these cars are aluminum. This car is aluminum, the Rolls Royce is aluminum, and the magnetic fender covers don't stick. They have special fender covers they use. They complain that I wear a belt and I wear a watch. So I'll be taking off the watch and I will remove the belt. Just for you, because there's so many people out there that are mechanics and oh my gosh, they complain about the belt and the watch. Okay, I'm under the Lamborghini and this thing is all carbon fiber. This whole belly pan impressively is carbon fiber, something you're never going to see, but they did it for strength and to save weight. Now there's press board here, but then also more carbon fiber over the rear end. You've got a Bentley rear end, you've got a Porsche transaxle, you got a German engine, you got an Italian body. Sounds like a hot chick, but anyway, we've got a whole bunch of these little torque screws that we have to take out here. They're everywhere. Every time I'm fishing around for one of these, I feel like Indiana Jones searching for the Holy Grail, and the knight is in the corner. You chose wisely. It would have been nice to have a helper for this, but there we go. So, like a lot of cars nowadays, they'll put a little pillow here to catch oil debris. Look, it's VW Group, Switzerland. How about that? Yep, no, I have this one. I bought this Harbor Freight. It wasn't very expensive. It's just a breaker because, you know, just to crack the seal, you know, keep you from busting knuckles. See, I just needed to do that. There's a sink drain screen in here. Always have one of these in there. Ask me how I know. And this is hot. Oof, that wasn't too bad. All right, I think this is dripped enough. I'm gonna go ahead and put this plug back in here. A little bit of cleaner. I brought with me my Milwaukee torque wrench. Pretty amazing tool. You ever seen a torque wrench this cool? Huh? How about that thing? We've got it set for German specification, which is called good and tight. Thank you. Good and tight. I will never stop using that joke. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and button this back up. I wish I had a friend. I have no friends. I'll tell you, if you are a car guy and you have the opportunity, if you're building a house, to have a pit installed, I highly recommend it. Dig a hole, brick it out like this, and put yourself in a pit. It is the single greatest thing. When people come over and they're like, "Oh my God, it's so awesome," I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's one of the reasons I bought this house. It is so fantastic. I love it so much." All right, let's go back up there. This is all buttoned up, and put the oil in the car and change the filter. Let's do it. All right, next project is to get this crazy cover off here. There's a little pull tab on each side here. That allows you to take this off. I've already taken off the oil cap. I might do something fun with this in the future. I was thinking about, you know, if I could disassemble it, I would paint portions of it red or something, but I don't know, it might be difficult. I'm gonna set it over here. Now this is our air filter. It's got a couple of clips here that pop off pretty easy. And then you got a couple of torque screws, of course. Let me go grab those. Couple of T25s here. Those just come right out pretty quickly, easily. And this should just come right off of there. And there you have it. So that's a little dirty. This thing's been living in the desert for a while. That's a factory VW one, as it says right on there. Look at this, there's a dang cigarette butt and some bugs and leaves. Got some crankcase filters here. I'm gonna blow and wipe this out real quick. I showed this little wolf box blower off in one of my other videos. Great for things like this. Does a great job when you need it. Okay, for the cabin air filter, this one is a Micron Air. Paid like 40 bucks for this thing. You go on Lamborghini, they want $100 for it. So apparently the air filter for the cabin is under the glove box. I'm not gonna be able to really take you in there with me, but basically what happens is you crawl up under here, and underneath the glove box there's like a foam type cover with some clips that you undo. You undo those clips. There's a tray. This thing is actually in there curved. It's sitting in its holder like this. So we're gonna crawl under there and get it. So yeah, there's just a couple of these little clips in this styrofoam cover. Then you'll see this little cover with some clips on it. That actually wasn't very difficult at all. Your oil filler is just a funnel on a tube that runs down to the crankcase below. I'm going to set this aside. This cross member needs to be removed so that we can get to the filter. This time using a T30. I would recommend not doing this while the car is on a lift. It should be sitting flat, because if there is any flex in this cross member, that's where you would experience it. Now the oil filter is directly here in the center, right between, they've got a couple of air lines here and the turbos. That's about a 1 1/4 socket. You should have a proper oil filter wrench that would fit that, but this air tool socket seems to be fitting just fine. It's marked right on the top, 25 Newton meters. You don't want to get any oil anywhere near these turbos. They would smoke. That would be no fun. So that came out really easily. All right, we're gonna remove that, discard it, and here is our factory original filter. Snaps right in there. You're gonna want to change out this seal. You can use a pick. I use this knife. You need to make sure, and I mean really make sure, that that seal is in there, sitting flat, doesn't have any twists in it or anything. Simply pull this back. Watch out for these couple of air lines here. A couple of vacuum hoses. Those probably are measuring your boost. Set that in there. Now, I'm not going to use a torque wrench on this, because I've done enough of these. I can just tell where it goes. Right there. It's fine. Good and tight. Okay, first you got to put your cross member back on. Very important that you don't forget this. I recommend doing a quick soft finger thread on these. Make sure they're all aligned before you tighten down any of them. Just to make sure. It looks like they've got quite a bit of play too. Okay, let's talk about this air box. Truth be told, you're watching this video and I've edited out about an hour of me messing with it. So I think I have the sequence correct. And if you're going to try to attempt this, please watch and take note so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Number one, don't replace the air filter till last. This oil fill funnel can unclip from the air box so that you don't have to mess with taking it off the crankcase. You can just leave it on the crankcase, because you can see it's difficult to fiddle with. And there goes the seal. Where did it go? Right here. So I've lost this little seal a couple times. Keep that there. That's a pain. See those two mounts back there? The box is going to mount into there. But you have these bellowed air intakes here that are coming as the fresh air. So the fresh air goes into the box, through the filter, this way, through those tubes, and into your twin turbos that sit on top here. Notice these twin turbos, the catalysts are attached right to the rear, going right to the exhaust. You have your O2s there. This is very hot, and it's going to remain very hot for a long time. You want to let the car cool. Don't accidentally reach over there and touch that. You're going to burn yourself. This is the really difficult part. Now I'm going to do this for probably the 4th or 5th time in this recording. And this is what I've learned about this box. You want to kind of set it up here like this, okay? Also, don't forget to put your cross member in, because I put all this back together and forgot the cross member. Had to redo it. I put this in and this was sitting in the wrong place, had to redo it. So I had it in and then I couldn't get this thing in there, had to redo it. So you know what, let's just set that seal aside and then we'll try to remember to put that in when the cap goes on. Now the way I'm having to do it is you can't put the car into neutral unless it's running. I can't seem to figure it out. Maybe you can in the manual. I've tried putting it into neutral, it won't budge. So this is the system that I've found that's working for me, because I have to hover above the pit and I'm gently laying on the front of the car, pulling this thing forward like this, right? Now, the issue that I had momentarily was getting this thing to align, and that has to sit underneath. And it doesn't use any screws, it just has these pegs. But see, the trick here is getting this to all align together and getting this to go in like that, and then this to align with that. Oh, now I see how it goes. It does go on top. Okay, so please pay attention, because there are 2 screws that go here. Okay, because the air filter attaches directly to this. Now we've got this in. No, but we are not done. Not by a long shot. Because now you have these little air bellows here. Now, this you got to pay attention to. They're marked left and right. Left, looking out the car. Notice how they're both bent here because they weren't installed correctly in the first place. You've got this little slat here, and there are slats here. When you put this in, it actually goes that way. When you put this in, make sure that you get that slat in there so that it's holding down the bottom of this. Because when you push this in here like this, it tends to want to squish, right? And it's squished. So like the bottom of this is not in at all. So what happens is, you want to try to start from the bottom, put your fingers in there, and make sure that you align this bottom with these little slats that are there, because they're slotted. And what you'll find is as you're maneuvering this in there, right? Ah, there we go. See, use your fingers to feel in there. That one's in there. Now, I've done this a couple of times now. I'm getting to be an expert at these little bellows. If you keep in tally, I picked up this Pronto filter on Amazon. I think it was about 40 or 50 bucks. Okay, now, when putting in the air filter, you'll notice these deep holes, these pegs on top. The pegs go on top. It goes in this way. The pegs up on top. Put your screws in here. The airbox cover will fit starting here. You can align these hinges. It has its own hinges. It'll come down. These rubber slots will plug into here. These will plug into here. Then you can put these snaps on. Make sure your seal, your oil seal is here. Okay, make sure, by the way, first, that you've clipped these on to your air filter so that this is on there nice and tight. Almost forgot. Now it fits. These little clips here just snap in very easily. Very simple. And this one, I made the mistake of, I gotta fix this plastic. Make sure that this is where you can get to it, because that plastic was in the way. There we go. I gotta tell you, this has been challenging. If you can afford a Lamborghini, you should just take it to Lamborghini and pay them the money. I've got this cool little oil filter or oil filler kit that will allow me to plug that in like this, put this funnel here, and sometimes if you Google the oil, I found one of the Googles said to use a 540. But right smack dab in the manual of this car that's in the glove box, it recommends 2.9 gallons of 040, which is what we're going to use today. European formula, Mobil 1. They recommend doing this every 10,000 miles. I think you're crazy if you do that. I would never run 10,000 miles on one of my cars in an oil change. Forget it. But be that as it may, we're going to fill this car back up with these 2 jugs. Never throw away your old jugs. Save them for your old oil. You could take them back to the parts store, get rid of your old oil. Crazy thing about the Lamborghini Urus, when I first bought this car, of course I wanted to check all the fluids before I went out on my drive, because I bought it in Scottsdale and had to drive it back to Vegas, about a 4 or 5 hour drive through the desert. I wanted to check the fluids. I looked all over this thing for a dipstick. These engines don't have a dipstick, they have a virtual dipstick. You pull it up on the screen and it tells you the oil level. Crazy. Oil level okay. It doesn't really tell me much, does it? Let's go ahead and start the car and let it do its thing. Oil level indicator is available after 2 minutes. The engine must be warm and turned off. Starting the car. It's very angry that the hood is open. So we're going to let the oil run and cycle. It needs to fill the oil filter. While we're doing that, we'll go into our service intervals. Reset oil change. This shows that it was done September of 24. And it says it's overdue, but I don't know if that's true. We're going to reset it now. Oil change has been reset. And we're going to go back to oil level. Says it's available after 2 minutes. So we're going to let the engine idle and then we'll come back and check it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Now this is not an endorsement or an affiliation in any way, but I've been using this Pro Lube based on some videos that I've seen where they do friction tests on various additives. Most of the independent tests I've seen show that this is the best friction modifier, and I've been putting this in all of my vehicles. I paid for this out of my own pocket. Now, the reason you saw a change there in the idle is because the crankcase is open, the oil filter is not on, and there's a difference in vacuum and it's searching for this to be closed. That's why it's running at this higher idle. When I put the cap on, it'll solve that problem. Quite a bit of vacuum here. Car's gonna be happy when I plug this in. Ah, that's what it was looking for. It dropped down to a very low, probably, what is that, 600-700 maybe idle. Running quiet as a mouse. It did not like having that oil cap off. Let's review factory filter. I didn't use factory air filter. I don't think that really matters. Maybe somebody would disagree, but I think that it'll be fine. We've torqued everything. We've got it all to spec. no leaks. Car's idling and running great, service interval check. So in the last week, we've replaced the cracked front lens or the camera for the front, which was broken by a rock. You can go back and watch that video. We replaced the battery, which was a lithium-ion battery originally for the car. Somebody put the wrong battery in. We did the correct battery upgrade. Audi, Lamborghini would have charged as much as $7,000 for that. We did it for about $600. So in the last 3 or 4 days, we've done about $10,000 worth of Lamborghini service to this car for a lot less. Now, how much did this cost? Those jugs of oil are about 40 bucks a piece. So that was $80, $90 worth of oil, plus the 2 filters, 40, 50 bucks a piece. I paid about $25 or $35. So around about $200 worth of out-of-pocket cost, maybe a little more, for the cabin filter, the engine air filter, the oil, the filter itself, and then this little ProLube stuff is quite expensive, but we won't count that. So out of pocket over $200 just in materials to do an oil change. So you can imagine if you were at Lamborghini where they might be charging $250 or $300 an hour, I think it is. They probably have a couple people working on this. I don't know how many hours they charge. I know I've been in here for at least 2 hours. So even if they're only charging you for 1 hour, you're at least $500, $600 or more, plus they're charging you more for materials. They would be charging $100 or more for that filter and for that other one. So they're probably charging $200, $300, $400. They're probably charging you $500 for parts plus labor. So maybe a good $1,000 you're gonna pay for a full service oil change. I don't know, it may be more than that. If you're a Lamborghini Urus owner that takes it to the dealer, please in the comments tell me, what do you pay for your annual service? Now, unless you're willing to get dirty and do the crap I just dealt with, and you can afford to take it to the dealer, take it to the dealer. This one was one of the harder ones I've done. The actual oil change wasn't that hard, but dealing with all the crap to get to it was a pain. Okay, coming up on a future episode, tires. Not as simple as just getting tires. Well, I guess that's not true. I mean, if you don't mind just going to the dealer and buying the Lamborghini approved Pirelli P0s, I guess it's not a big deal. It's going to cost you about probably $6,000. I'm going to try to finagle me a deal. I like the Michelin Pilot Sports, and I wanted those, but I couldn't find them in the United States. So I ordered them out of Italy. I'm having them shipped to me now. I'm hoping that they work, because I've been told by some people that somehow the car knows if it doesn't have the official Lamborghini tires on there. That might be a problem. Gonna see if I can't fool it. Okay guys, this was oil change on my 2019 Lamborghini Urus. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I didn't enjoy doing it. We do a lot of fun stuff like this on cars like these, the Rolls-Royce and many others. Check out my channel if this is your first time coming. Sift through some of the videos we've been putting up here since 2007. We work on the Rolls-Royce Phantom and a lot of other cool exotic cars. Our shop, Bob's Prop Shop, we build the DeLorean Time Machine, Knight Rider, Ghostbusters, all kinds of fun stuff. This is just a fun new project vehicle for me, my new whip, and a few things that we just got to fix and iron out on the car, and I think it'll be cool. The most important thing is it's always been my dream to own a real Lamborghini, and I know that there's people that are haters out there that go, well, it's just an Audi, it's just a Porsche, it's just a Bentley, it's just a whatever. I don't care. I'm really enjoying the car. It's a lot of fun. And whereas some of the maintenance might be expensive, just about every car is getting to be very expensive just to even do an oil change. This being a performance SUV that's capable of driving like a real sports car, you got to put the time and effort into doing it. Now, If you can afford to go buy one of these for 300 grand, take it to the dealer, pay them the fee. But for me, it's just fun. I really enjoy doing this. That's why I bought this property and this garage that has the pit, just so I could do this kind of stuff. I really enjoy it. It's like my hobby. So thanks for watching. If this is your first time, subscribe if you like what you see. And I hope to hear from you in the comment section. I want to hear your thoughts. Thanks. I'm Videobob.